Canine Craving Brand Training. Part 2, Advanced Feeding Guidelines, Session B. In this session, we're going to glance back at advanced feeding considerations from Session A. We're going to move forward into the guaranteed analysis comparisons of our complete and balanced diets, along with extended recommendations, treats, and daily intake. The objective of this session is to encourage handlers to consider the bigger picture regarding feeding and overall daily intake to better manage ideal canine weight and overall good health. So as we look back at what was covered in Session A, we learned that factors such as activity level, age, health, metabolism, climate, and even breed all play a part in determining a canine's best feeding volume against their body weight. As we move further into this subject, we'll also learn that the individual diets, looking at the fat and calories, as well as daily treat consumption, also play an important role. In reviewing the feed volume calculations, we learned in Session A that we use the actual body weight or desired body weight. In this example, we use 50 pounds for an active canine times the percentage of body weight. For an active canine, we see that that's 2.5% of the body weight. So we would multiply the body weight times the percentage of body weight, which is in this example 50 pounds times 2.5% equals the total daily feed volume. And in this particular scenario, it equals 1.25 pounds or 20 ounces of total feed volume per day. No to low activity of adult would be 2%. Active adult, once again, 2.5%. Highly active adult, this would be your sporting or working dogs, 3%. Lactating adult, 3 to 5%. And puppyhood, which is weaning to 18 months, is 5 to 8% of body weight. We're going to brief through the individual diets in and of themselves. And at the end of each of these complete and balanced diets, we're actually going to compare each of the diets against each other in an at-a-glance chart. So we're just going to brief through these pretty quickly. We see that the beef and vegetable has a crude fat of 18.3%, which is quite high, and a 64 on the kcal ounce as fed. In review of an earlier session, we learned that although beef and vegetable and all our complete and balanced diets are great for all life stages, all breeds, all sizes, it's particularly awesome for your working canines and muscular bully breeds, as this particular diet brings a lot of muscle and muscle support and calories for your higher calorie burning dogs. Chicken and vegetable has a much lower fat and lower calorie. Also, chicken is the provider of natural connective tissue, or chondroitin, pardon me, and makes this an excellent choice for canines on weight management or large dogs or physically active and senior canines that may be having challenges with joint health issues. Again, that connective tissue helps to nurture their joints, whereas the lower calorie helps to keep their weight at a positive lean. Chicken, beef, and vegetable is a 12% fat, which is a nice balanced fat, and 51 on the calories. Again, excellent for all life stages, all breeds, all sizes. We can see all these down here are highlighted, so really not a lot of thought involved there. As long as we're feeding the appropriate percentage of body weight, it's a perfect balance. Duck and vegetable. Duck is 18.4, which is the highest in fat content, second highest in calories. Once again, the high calories make it excellent for working dogs that are burning calories throughout the day continuously. And turkey, very, very low fat, making it an excellent choice for canines with GI sensitivities that have difficulties processing fat. Also for dogs with extreme weight management programs. Calories are down to 32 in this particular diet. So as we look at this table that outlines the primarily the fat and caloric comparisons, we see that beef and vegetable is our highest overall. The duck second. Chicken, beef, and vegetable is a beautiful balance right in the middle. Chicken has your second to lowest on the fat and calories, and turkey is the absolute lowest on the fat and calories. So a couple examples I want to point out here is, let's say for instance we have a generally active adult at a 2.5% feed volume. So they might be going for a couple walks during the day, running around the yard, etc., but they're not doing extreme burn. And so they may not use up all the calories if they're on a beef diet, and could over time start taking on some excessive weight. And so we have a couple options here. If we want to continue feeding the beef and vegetable diet, we need to cut back on that 2.5% and maybe bring it at a 2.25 or a 2% and watch how they do on that, because the last thing we want to do is create an obese dog. Again, we want to ensure that what the diet is bringing to the dog is being used properly, and if they're adding on weight, it's excessive, and we want to avoid that. Another option in that scenario is moving them to something that's got a lower fat and keeping the feed volume the same. So at a 2.5% body weight, you could feed the chicken, beef, and vegetable. You still have the palatability of the beef. You've got the chicken that is bringing it down to a lower amount of fat and calories. But a beautiful place for that dog to be. And so you could keep them at the same feed volume, but just take them to a lower fat diet. Alternately, if you have a highly active canine, let's say it's herding or out hiking or running every day with a handler, maybe as a sporting dog, and burning a lot of calories, putting a lot of rigor on its body on a day-to-day basis, and you're feeding a 3% body weight for their feed volume, which is appropriate for a working canine or a sporting canine. But with the turkey being so low in fat, over time the dog could almost look too lean because there's not enough calories coming in. And so in that scenario, you may want to increase the feed to a 3.5 or 4% and stay with the turkey, or move them up into something that's got higher calorie, higher fat to support their body by going into, say, chicken, beef, and vegetable. And once again, just keeping an eye and making sure that they're where ideally their physique and their breed should be. Another thing we want to consider is the amount of treats that we're adding into our dog's overall daily intake. I have beef heart chips up here highlighted in red, and there's 6 pieces on average per bag. These are tough to break down into smaller pieces, but they're also very lean. And so per piece, for larger breeds, it would be 102 calories per ounce. But if you're are able to break it down into smaller pieces, certainly that would be a smaller kcal per ounce as fed. So we're not going to really pay a whole lot of attention to that because it is very, very lean. Instead, I want to focus first on the cookies. In the cookies, you have approximately 16 cookies per bag. And if you were to break that down per piece, you're looking at a 74 on the calories for the beef, green tripe 71, beef trachea 70, beef liver 62, duck 62, and duck liver cookies 56. Again, these are very healthy treats. They're designed specifically to support a raw diet. There's only 3 ingredients, which is your primary protein there. And then also egg powder and psyllium seed husk for binding, so grain and gluten-free, perfect for a raw diet. But it's still calories, it's consumption, and it needs to be taken in consideration for the total daily intake. When we look at the naturals, these are single ingredients. So in beef liver chips, you have beef liver. Chicken breast strips, you have chicken breast meat. And sweet potato chips is just sliced and dried sweet potatoes. And these are also extremely lean, but nonetheless translate into calories. And so we can see that the beef cookies, they're at the highest, sweet potatoes, they're at the lowest. And so when we glance back, we can see that the comparison of calories is quite similar to that of the food. The food, however, is balanced and complete for all life stages and meets all the necessary requirements for the canine nutrient profile, whereas treats are an added reward. And so once again, these are not designed to be fed by the handful. These are designed to be used as rewards, training treats, with our chews, pacifiers for our eager beavers, and really keep that consumption at a moderation. So when we take a look at this illustration, we can see that for a medium-sized, say 60-pound dog that's getting be 3/4 of a pound of food twice a day and maybe a couple cookies, that's perfectly okay. Not a whole lot of adjustment needs to go on there. However, if you have a medium-sized dog that again is getting maybe 3/4 of a pound because they're active, they're getting 2.5% on their feed, they're doing that twice a day, plus each day they're getting a chew and a duck strip and a piece of beef liver, and then the next day they're getting a bone and some cookies, and then the next day they get a junior chew and some beef heart. This is not okay. That's too much. And that dog will start to take on a much more padded or thicker physique. What we're looking for, and this actual article can be found on our Canine Craving blog at caninecraving.com. If you look on the columns or under resources, you'll find our blog, and you can tap in there and find the full article on this particular concept of fighting dog obesity. So what are we looking for? What aren't we looking for? Obesity, and this is a mild case of obesity. You look on the internet, there's some serious cases, but obesity nonetheless is hard on the joints, it's hard on their organs, and dogs just quite frankly aren't designed to handle obesity. So on the ribs, it's difficult to feel under moderate fat cover, the tail base, some thickening that get that little bit of a pillow right here. Bones are under a moderate cover of fat. From the side view, there's not really any tuck here. You're seeing that start to lower down. Overhead, they look like a coffee table. They've got the broadening back and they look kind of flat. However, an ideal body weight, you're able to see that first rib. It's a smoother contour with a slight fat cover. So here you're seeing a really nice silhouette. From the side view, you're getting that abdominal tuck. With some of your deep-chested dogs, that may be a higher tuck naturally, and that's okay. That's how they're built. But this is what we do not want to see. And then overhead, you're definitely seeing that hourglass figure. You're seeing a waist, you're seeing the shift at the shoulders, you're seeing a leanness down towards their behind. They don't have these pads here. And again, this is what we're looking for. So when we take a look at the overall information covered today, we want to be mindful of how much is being fed for food, how much is being fed for treats, and at the end of the day, does it all make sense for what my dog needs on a day-to-day basis? This concludes our Canine Craving Brand Training Session B of Advanced Feeding Guidelines. If you have any questions, please feel free to forward to Tamara at info@caninecraving.com. Please check out our growing library of Canine Craving web video trainings. Again, this is located on our blog and can be found from our resources page. We welcome your feedback and ideas for canine craving topics you would like for us to feature in the future. And send these ideas to info@caninecraving.com. Thank you again for joining us.